Hello my YouTube friends, welcome to Tim's Motorcycle Adventures. It's a beautiful sunny day today, so let's go for a ride. Well, hello everyone. It's been a little while since I've been out on the bike. Lots of renovations and rain and different things going on, so it's good to be back, and it's a beautiful day today. It's about 9 degrees, sun's out, it's very nice. So today, just want to talk a little bit about how many bikes I've had. A friend of mine the other day asked me, how long do you keep a motorcycle? He kind of noticed that I had, gone through a few motorcycles since he's known me, which has only been a couple of years. And I started thinking about it, and over the last 10 years of motorcycling, I have owned 18 different motorcycles. And some of those are bikes that I've bought for my wife that she has ridden. Some are one of them a friend just gave me a bike, and a number are non-running projects, that kind of thing. Actually, this current Tiger that I'm on is by far the most expensive motorcycle I've ever purchased. Most of the time I buy bikes that are in the $3,000-$4,000 range, and ride it for a year or so, and then sell it for about the same that I bought it for. And there's a number of them where I bought them as non-running bikes, and then got them running and restored them, or cafe racered them, or that kind of thing. And I just like to ride different kinds of motorcycles and work on motorcycles, and it's just kind of fun for me. And so I started out on a 1981 Honda CB 550 Nighthawk, and that was a fun little bike. It was not running properly, and I had no idea why. And I just kind of I replaced the rear tire on it, and I think I worked on the carbs a little bit. Actually, I think I just took the carbs off the bike and then looked at them and went, oh my goodness, I have no idea what I'm doing. And so I put them back on, and I don't even think I really cleaned them or actually did any real work on them. But I rode that one for a season, and then ended up selling it. And that was just a bike to learn on. I thought, well, hey, if I drop it or crash it, it's not worth that much, and that'd be fine. And now that I like to restore bikes and rebuild them, I'm like, oh man, I want that bike back. But anyway, it was a good bike. But if you are new to riding, you want to get into riding, do not buy an old motorcycle like that. Spend a little bit more money, get a new bike that has ABS and fuel injection, and I learned very quickly that was not a great bike to learn on. It didn't handle very well. All kinds of fueling issues. I'd forget to turn the petcock on, and then I'd stall it because I'd run out of fuel, and just too many things to think about when you're learning to ride. So then the next season, after that bike, was I went out and bought I think it was a 2002 Honda Shadow Ace, and that was a great bike, a beautiful looking bike, a nice red color, and it rode amazing compared to my old 550, and I thought, wow, this is fantastic. And I rode that for a season. And then we had to sell it because we just needed the finances for the winter. And then the next summer, income tax came back, and I went out and bought another Honda Shadow Ace, a black one this time. So I rode the black Honda Shadow, and right around that time, my wife decided she wanted to learn to ride. And so I thought, perfect, you can ride the Shadow 750. It's only a 750, but the reality is it's still a pretty big bike. And she rode it for a little bit, and it was just too big for her, and she didn't like the way it rode. She felt very uncomfortable on it. And so decided, okay, fine, time to sell that one and get something that she would learn to ride on. And so we sold that one and got her a 2009 Ninja 650. And you might think, oh, the Ninja 650, that's a crazy sport bike, but that's their kind of entry level, mid level parallel twin bike. Sits more upright. It is pretty sporty, but that was a great bike for her to learn on. I rode it a lot as well. It was a lot of fun. The engine sounded like a lawnmower, but it was okay. I put a lot of miles on that one. I actually did a tour from Edmonton all the way to interior BC, and we put about, 3,000 kilometers on, and it was not great for that. It was too many kilometers for a Ninja 650. My butt was very sore by the end. But anyway, so we got that for her, and so I wanted to ride a bike, and I found a really cheap kind of it was a 1981 Honda CB 750C, and it was non-running. Some guy on a farm had it in a C can, and the stator had gone, so I replaced the stator, got it running. Kind of did a mini cafe job on it, so I'll show you a picture here. And then after a while, I just ripped the whole thing apart and put a different tank on it and did a full cafe racer kind of job on it, and a new seat and paint and everything. That was a lot of fun. That was kind of my first taste into restoring bikes and modifying bikes, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and I really liked the result. I think it turned out really, really well. Anyway, then after a while, I kind of realized that that was great for running around town, and my project was done, and I wanted something that I could go longer distances on, and I really wanted a big cruiser. And so I went out, sold the CB, bought a 2002, I believe it was, Kawasaki Mean Streak, and 1500cc big cruiser. Absolutely loved that bike. It sounded so good. It rode amazing, so much power. I actually had an accident on that one. Somebody turned out left in front of me, and the road was kind of wet, and I locked up the front and went down on that one. Broke my collarbone pretty bad. But instead of writing it off, they just repaired it, and so I kept riding it for a while. Did a 6,000 kilometer 1 week trip on that one, and that was a lot of fun. But my wife kind of got tired of the Ninja, and so we sold the Ninja, and I found a great deal on a I think it was a 2003 Honda 919, and I don't know what I was thinking. I just thought it was a cool bike, and it was a really great deal. And so I went out and I picked it up, and it was in rough shape. And some guy on a farm, I think, had repainted it, and it was dusty, and it was just it was terrible. And so I took the tank and tail section off and repainted it, and kind of put new signal lights and stuff on it, and man, that was such a fun bike. It was kind of a scary bike. It was there was so much power, so much torque, but my wife thought, well, she could ride it, and so she went out and rode it for a few months, and then we just kind of thought, you know what, this is kind of nuts, and so we sold that one. And a guy came up from Calgary to Edmonton, bought that one and rode it back home in the same day. Okay, so then where are we at here? So I have the Mean Streak, and after that big long trip, I decided, you know what, it's not the right bike for long distances, and I loved that trip so much, I thought I need something to go long distances. And so I ended up doing a trade, a kind of a partial trade, for a 1999 Honda Valkyrie Interstate. And wow, what a humongous bike that was. It so much power, so smooth, the engine's flat 6-cylinder. Oh, it was just beautiful. And I rode that for a little while. At the same time, I had a friend of mine that had a, I think it was a 1981 Yamaha SR250, and it had been sitting in his garage for 20 some years. After they had a daughter, his wife said no more bike, and he always thought maybe I'd get back on it. And so he gave it to me so that I could get it running and restore it, and I did, and it was a cute little bike, and I restored the thing and actually gave it to one of my friends there when we left Edmonton, and I think he still has it and is still riding it, and a cute little bike. So I had this big Honda Valkyrie. My wife and I went on a long trip into BC, and I blew a rear wheel bearing, almost crashed off a cliff. We had to U-Haul the bike home, and that was it was a fun trip, but it was an expensive trip. I just had some failure with the bike there, and but I realized on that trip, as we were kind of going around the twisty roads, it was like riding a barge around these beautiful twisty roads. And it was just too big. And you know, on the interstate, it was great, but it was just too big for mountain riding. And you know, it was a nice comfy couch, but just a lot of weight to push around. And of course, to save weight, Honda took out the reverse gear from the Goldwing, and so no reverse on this like 800-pound motorcycle. It was just too much. So I ended up selling that one, and I found an incredible deal, what I thought was an incredible deal, on a 2014 Moto Guzzi Norgay GT. And I'd never owned a Moto Guzzi before. It felt like I was riding some, you know, Italian supercar kind of thing, and it was just a beautiful bike. The engine is a 1200cc V-twin, and it just absolutely went like crazy, rumbled. But the bike itself just was very comfortable. A lot of fun to ride. Really enjoyed it. But then we moved out here to the island, and a 1200cc bike in BC is very expensive to insure, and it just wasn't quite the right bike for the island. There's no big interstates. It's all like, you know, slower highway speeds, and you know, just not really the right bike. And I wanted to save on insurance, so I put that one up for sale, and it did not sell. It just it wouldn't sell. Nobody would come and look at it. It was like, oh, Moto Guzzi, what's that? And almost impossible to sell. Finally, I had a guy come, and he had a 1999 high mileage BMW R1100 RT, and he wanted to do a partial trade for it, and I just thought, sure, let's do it, because I can't get rid of this Moto Guzzi. And so we did a partial trade, and I rode that BMW for I don't know, 6-8 months, something like that. I actually really liked it. At first I hated it, And after a while, I kind of grew to love that that boxer engine that's in there, and it was actually a really great bike. I think it had like 112,000 kilometers on it. So, but I wanted to get into adventure riding. I wanted to, kind of go off-road and that kind of thing. And so somehow I found a guy in North Vancouver that had a 2003 Suzuki V-Strom 1000. And he wanted a BMW touring bike, and so we just traded straight across. It was amazing. I couldn't believe that I found a guy that wanted to do that for basically the exact bike that I was wanting at the time. And it was all decked out with, off-road tires and skid plate and crash bars and luggage and all of that kind of stuff. It was fantastic, but it ran really rough. I had to do a fuel control unit and a bunch of different things to it, get it to run right. And then I took an off-road riding course with that bike, and it was just way too big. It's too heavy. It just wasn't really right for that kind of riding. And so I thought, you know what, this one needs to go. In the meantime, I found a great deal on a non-running Honda CB750F, and those are pretty rare bikes. And this guy local had one here, but it hadn't run in 28 years. And I actually rebuilt the thing and got it so it was, basically as stock as you can get it 40 some years later. And it was just a beautiful bike. I loved riding that thing. So much fun to do. But I don't keep those bikes very long, so I sold that one. And at the same time, my wife also wanted to ride, and the CB750 is a little big for her. She doesn't like those old bikes. And so we actually picked up a 2018 BMW G310 GS. And she rode that for about 3 months, and then was like, no, I don't really want to ride anymore. And so we sold my my CB750, I sold my V-Strom, and sold her GS310, and that's when I got this Tiger 800, and it has just been a fantastic bike. Excellent off-road, excellent on-road. Just love riding this thing, and very, very, very happy with it. Oh. Yeah. So there's been so many bikes, I've forgotten a few in here. A few years back, I also picked up a CB650C, and it barely ran. It spewed oil everywhere out of every seal, and so I picked that one up and stripped that one right down to the frame, repainted the frame, rebuilt the engine, painted everything, did a custom fiberglass cafe racer seat on it, new tank. It was actually a 70s CB750 tank, and rebuilt that entire thing as a custom kind of showpiece. And I was very happy with that one. It turned out so well. And sold that one. It was more about the project and not about riding the bike. And but I'm very happy about that one. And really, as I've been working on some of these old bikes, I really love restoring them and redoing them. Sometimes in custom, sometimes back to kind of stock factory kind of thing. And I really love doing that. And so a little while ago, I found a guy that had a motorcycle salvage place, and I picked up 2 motorcycles for $200 a piece. I got an 81 Yamaha XJ550 Maxim, and non-running, of course, and a 1978 Suzuki GS 750. And that one is, I'm really excited about that one. Beautiful wire wheels, and that's it's just a beautiful bike, non-running, but that one doesn't have registration yet, so I have to go through the process of getting registration for it, and that's kind of a long process. So right now I have the Yamaha XJ 550 all ripped apart in my garage, and slowly rebuilding it, and hopefully I can get it running fairly soon here. The carbs were pretty bad, missing pieces and things, so I actually found a bank on eBay and ordered those. Hopefully they're actually good, and we can hopefully I can get that bike running, and I got plans to make it into a scrambler type motorbike. So you know, kind of one of those bikes that looks like it'll go off-road, but you probably shouldn't take it off-road, one of those, but I think it'll look cool, and we'll see if I can get it running and all redone like that. So that's fun. So there you go. I think that was 18 bikes in 10 years. Maybe that seems a little crazy to you, but you know, I love different motorcycles, and buying and selling, and haven't really lost a whole lot of money over the years doing that. Sometimes I actually made money on bikes, and so, you know, it kind of equals out in the end, and it's just really fun to kind of experience different kinds of motorcycles, and I've learned a ton along the way on motorcycle mechanics and how bikes work, and that's been a lot of fun. All right, well, here in the valley, trees are blooming, grass is green, sun's out. Thanks for joining me today on my probably too long talk on how many motorbikes I've had over the years. And make sure you hit subscribe and like, and yeah, I'll see you next time.